So this is going to be a Keezer project. This is the offending article. It's free on Marketplace, and I'm going to fit comfortably 6 kegs in there in the low bit, and I'm sort of planning for this higher bit to be for either yeast slurry storage or for like purchased beers, commercial beers. Or I could use it for storing bottles if I decided to bottle some, which I can't see happening, but there you go. So yeah, my plan is to raise it up on wheels. It does shut, and it also fits the kegland disconnects, but I'm going to put a collar on to give me some more space. I'm going to just see how high the collar needs to be if I ever wanted to put kegs on the high bit. But it might be a bit tall for that. And I think I'm going to go for a 6-tap T-bar kegland doing for 140 quid, I think it is. Probably going to put Nuka taps on it. But first job is to get some wheels, make a base. I'm going to have it, the design is going to be where I could put a bar along the bottom, so you just somewhere to put your feet, make it look a little bit authentic. And I've seen some sticky back wood effect vinyl, which I think I'm going to put on the freezer. And then for wood collar, I might put it, so I'm going to put it vertically on the body, I think. And then the wood collar, I'll do it horizontally, and then a timber bar top. But this is going to be a slow development. I'm not going to rush it. So this video is going to skip forwards in time a few times. But this is the beginning. Let's see what we end up with. So I've made a trolley base for the freezer to sit on. Stain the front edge because these bits here are all you're going to see of the timber. Got a rail on it. It's got a rail. Put your feet on. And I've put 50mm casters from B&Q on the bottom. It says they're heavy duty, so we'll see how they go. And then freezer, I say, will sit on there. This is a little bit smaller than the freezer, and I'm going to put a skirt basically around the front and the sides so that it just hides up the gap there a bit. Yep. So I'm going to put the freezer on now and then start work on the collar, I think. Those notches at the end is a couple of strips of angle iron or uni-strut that hold the compressor in place under the hump in the freezer. So I've just notched out for that. That's the easiest option really. Alright, I'll see you in the next step. Right, I've got her on the dolly. I've put the skirt around the edge. I have got a coating to go over all of this, which I'll show you in due course once it's ready to go on. Taking this grill off the side because I'm going to have a lot of airflow underneath, and there's a big gap on the back, so I haven't put the skirt on the back, so my coating can come down over this a lot smoother. I'm still undecided what to do with the, I broke that just taking it off looking at it, but if I decide to keep it I can just glue that on again. But I might move it. I don't really need the controls because it's going to be controlled by a ITC 1000, and I'll probably mount that display in the collar so it looks a little fancy. So yeah, I'm undecided what to do about it yet. What I'm putting over it, I could go round and maybe paint this black to make it look a little bit swanky, or I don't know. I haven't decided on that yet. I'll think about it as I go. But shoes quite easy. One hand there and just moving around. I haven't actually fixed it onto the dolly yet. I can put a couple of screws through. I've got to be careful where I screw it. I think I can screw along the back edge, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Down through it. I'll probably do that. Right, see you in the next bit. Right, I've got the collar on, well, together and in place, and I've got the skirt around the sides. So taking that grill off because I'm going to go over that. I'm going to have loads of airflow underneath, as I said. Still haven't worked out what to do with the light. The collar, I'm going to hinge because it's pretty high, and I think if I hinge the collar, fix the lid onto the collar, it means I get the best of both worlds. I get plenty of height above the keg, so if I ever get the taller, thinner kegs, then actually I can't remember which one I got, whether I got the taller, thinner ones or shorter, wider ones, but it gives me options, and also there's a little bit more room for air to move around there. So yeah, I'm going to hinge out and fix the lid to it. I've got to chamfer the inside edge here because the door, as you can see here, sits down into it and it's not quite big enough. I'm probably going to take this seal off and put that in the bottom of the collar so it seals when it sits, and then this will be glued then into the collar. Freezer didn't cost me anything, so butchering it is fine by me. So yeah, that's my job for today, is to put that chamfer on here, hinge it up with the seal, our rotor in a groove, the seal, and I don't know if I'll get to fixing the lid on. I'm barbecuing some lamb at the same time. So I'll catch you in a bit. Right, I'm going to do a bit more work on the Keezer. I'm going to insulate inside the collar in here with 50mm Celotex. Should sit it flush with this inside edge. I decided to go for the collar fixed down in the end. I was a bit worried about lifting the kegs over, as I said, and I tried it with the collar and without, and there was virtually no difference. And the Keezer's going to live in this room, so if I struggle, because I'm getting older and older, I can put a winch up there and I can just winch the kegs in. So yeah, let's get on with the Celotex. Right, I've put the Celotex in. I've stuck it back onto the timber with just a bead of sticks like shit, and now I'm going to put the foil in. I had to put a couple of small bits just in here. This long length just wasn't quite long enough, which is always the way, isn't it? So yeah, next job is to seal all this in with foil tape over these joints and over these exposed edges. It's down here because the lid sits in. If you have a look at the inside of the lid. So I've had to allow for that, which is fine because it means the lid will sit nearly up against there. I've left a few mil down so that the seal can sit tightly on the timber. And I'm going to foil wrap over the edge of this and up over the timber to here. Maybe just go over the edge and then the outside will go on. And that way all of this is completely sealed in. So I'm going to give it a good clean out, hoover it, and then start doing the foil tape. It's coming together nicely. Right, that's the foil on. As I said, I've come down over the edge a little. That'll be coated by what I'm putting on the outside. Started from the bottom at here and put that piece on first. Then I've put a piece on the rebate on the turn here. Put that on next. And I put a piece on the top over so that if any spillages happen, which I'm sure we will at some point, it won't get down into it, it'll flow over. And seal it to the sides and in the corners, put a few extra bits in. It's not the neatest of jobs, but this stuff's really difficult to lay. Really tough to keep it straight and to not have any creases in it, which I've got loads of. But yeah, looks like that's going to be nice and easy to keep clean now. Excellent, I'm pleased with that. I don't think I could have got it any better. I'm not one for taking my time on stuff. I tend to rush. It's getting there. Right, I've just clad it. Well, started cladding it. So that's the front. I've decided to keep the lights. I thought it would just be handy to know that it's actually working. So there's a join in the middle, which you can barely see. And I don't think most people will take notice of it. And then gone around that side. And around there. So I'm going to have a piece of ply for the lid. It's going to overhang the front and that side. And I'm going to, I've got the same PVC coating to go on that. I decided, yes, like I said, decided to keep the lights. So I've got the cover here, which I'm going to take off that little lug, that little hook there, because that hook's in behind. And adding the face, it's too thick now. So I'm going to cut that off, and that will line up over. And I'm going to glue it on. And I'll probably paint this. I don't know whether either a cream just to blend in or a black to stand out. I haven't quite decided yet. Yeah, I'm pleased with it. It's coming on nicely. Right, I've made the ply lid. So basically it's 24 mil this ply is. And then I've just put a section there. And now I'm going to use the same as this plastic PVC. I'm going to put around the edge here and sides and on the top. So I'll have a completely waterproof bar top and hopefully fairly resilient. I'm going to bolt it on with the T-nuts, which are these here. So basically you drill a hole through, you put a slight rebate in to allow for that there, and then those spikes, you hammer it in and those spikes lock in, and then you can thread the bolt from up underneath. This will be flush on the countertop and the bolt will go through, and I'll make sure the bolt doesn't stick up through, and then I can unbolt the countertop off the freezer if the freezer ever packs up, and then bolt it on a new one. And because it's plastic on the inside, the freezer lid, and it's hollow, I think it's hollowish, it'll have insulation in it, but I've got these large square washers so that it won't pull through, and then they'll thread into the T-nuts. Yeah, that's compliments of eBay. That will be the next job, cladding out, and then I'll come back to you and show you the finished product. I've got the screws just slightly under flush. So yeah, hopefully it'll work. It's a bit messy in here because it's a bit wet, as you can see, because it was a brew day today. I did my first decoction mash. Brew day went okay. That's a different story. Right, I'll see you later. Bye bye. Right, I was gonna pack out the lid because of those two side trims, and a guy on as a patron on the Hobbiton podcast, he's currently building a Keezer as well, Teddy, and he's he said he was going to cut this off with a multi-tool side trim, so I've done that. It's a much better solution. It's flat, doesn't look pretty, but you're not going to see it, and yeah, it just saves a lot of packing out right down through, so that the lid over time doesn't bow. I'm now going to just clean up a bit, put it in position and fix it. Right, lid's on, hinges are fixed, the T-nut things are just below flush, which is ideal. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a sand around the edge here, ready to receive the coating, the top. The lid's pretty heavy, as you can imagine, with ply that thick. I thought I'd get away with these 2 hinges plus another 2 hinges because they're spring loaded, and once it's up there, it's not too bad, but it's I can't see that I can secure the new hinges in the lid properly if I put another 2 on, because these are bolted through, so it must be like something in a subframe, and I'm pretty sure I won't get another fixing like that, so they'll just pull out. So I'm going to have to go either just have an old-fashioned prop which I can put in when I'm doing anything, or go gas struts. I don't know if I can bother with the gas struts, but I'll have a mull it over. There's no desperate rush on it. Just thinking about it now on the fly, once the taps are on, that will give a bit of counterbalance weight behind, but I don't think it'll be enough, and I don't want to risk it just coming down on my head. It wouldn't be good. So I'm going to look at putting the coating on the lid now, give it a quick sand down and wipe off. Pleased so far. Soon have beer in her. Right, I've bypassed the thermostat. I still haven't painted the cover to put on there yet. I haven't done a lot to this actually, because I've been building a outside brew space, and I will show you that now. So this is the brew space. That lifts up, and then you just lift the doors, open the doors. So I can brew in the rain outside where I like to be, and then it's stored in there, gives me more room for the Keezer in the shed. Haven't decided where it's going to go. I think it might go there and then off the wall a little bit and have the taps facing backwards so I can serve, and a couple of stools. I'm 100% decided. I might make it so that I should be able to reach the taps from both sides, so I can have it facing outwards and leave it against the wall, and then if I decide to spin it, it's not a massive deal to do that. We'll see. Yeah, progress so far. So I've snuck out here. I was checking on the pork for Christmas dinner and pouring myself a pint, and I thought I would cut this corner off like I have on that one. I'm going to put a radius on with the variator. I've got it set up. I've got a 0 point where I'm going to put a nice radius on there. So this morning I snuck out, cut this corner off, glued a piece in underneath here. So when I come to rater that tomorrow, probably, if I'm allowed, it'll give me the rad, and then I can finish cloaking it. I'm still deciding, let's flip the camera, I'm still deciding whether to put the taps facing backwards and have it stepped out a bit so I can like serve 2 people and they can sit on this side, or whether just have it facing forwards. I haven't decided on that yet. So I'm going to finish pouring my pint, and Merry Christmas everybody. See you soon. That's our finished cladding wise. Put the sides on the lid and then put the top on. I rated in this curve. I'm quite pleased with it actually. But it's quite nice. Now I've got to look at fitting the taps, or the tower at least. I'm umming and ahhing whether to put it off the wall and have it facing backwards so you can sort of serve and have a bit of seating this side, or whether just to sit it against the wall. Now I could spin the tower around and have the best of both worlds, but if I have it serving from behind, I want it fairly far back, and I'm not sure what reach is like. I mean, my arm, that is a stretch to the back edge. It should be right. The other consideration I have is I haven't got rams for it yet. I've ordered those. That light is right there. So it means if the tower comes where the light is, I know the cable runs straight backwards. Well, at an angle a bit, actually. Looking where it's coming out. I'll have to have a look at that before I drill any holes. It could be, I mean, that bulb's just blown recently. So it could be that I'm going to have to just disconnect the light and go through where that is anyway. Or drill where that is and put the holes in. But it is what it is. Don't really need a light in there. And something else I was a bit concerned about, I thought I'd mention now, is, that's not going to stay on its own, is I was worried about lifting kegs in and out. Well, not out, because when you lift out, they'll be empty. But I was worried about lifting them in. And I thought, well, I lift, that's where my keg, my ferment chamber is. So I normally put the keg up on top where all the crap is, and then the keg's on the floor. And I put, as you might have seen on my videos before, I put a pipe into the keg and clipped into the outlet of the keg so you don't get too much foaming. And then I have a return going to Firmzilla from the keg so that it's oxygen-free transfer. There's absolutely no reason why I can't put a shelf, well, say on this corner, and put the Firmzilla on there. I know it's still lifting, but it's not lifting and then trying to guide into there. So put an empty keg in and then siphon it in from the Firmzilla in situ. Downside is if you have a little bit of a spillage disconnecting and connecting, then that's in there. You've got to try and clean it. But you could wrap a rag around the keg, do it what you're doing. If there is any dribbles, the rag will catch it. I say I'm not sure what I'll do yet, but that is an option if I think that I'm getting too old, decrepit, to lift them in. Or put a winch on the ceiling. So, yeah, that's it so far. Next job, fit the towers. Fit the towers and the taps. Decide where I want it, and then she's nearly there. I've got a ITC 1000, which, well, that one there. So I'm just going to use the same one because it's all set. I've bypassed the thermostat now. I'll just paint the cover still. I haven't got any paint for that. I'll just get a match pot of a sort of creamy colour that matches the PVC. But yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the ITC. I'm not sure whether to mount that. I think I might just hook it somewhere on the back, somewhere down under there way. And yeah, the plug's back there anyway, so I'm gonna do something like that, I think. Right, I'll see you on the next instalment. So regarding tap placement, the wife has said she thinks it looks quite nice having it facing backwards. So basically I would be here serving beers and then people sat there. Not that we have company out here that much, but it's an option. And if I'm sat out here on my own, I can just pour a beer and then come and sit on this side. Worst case scenario, if I change my mind, it's only there. It's a bent arm from the front edge. I can still pour. Absolutely fine. So I've drilled through the lid. Just a pilot hole. And I missed the light. I'm going to have about a 50mm hole. Thread all the pipes through. There's the other one there. So I am going to miss that light. I'm probably about 45mm away from that last rebate before the light. And the wire goes backwards, so I'm going to miss that easily. Got the holes marked for the screws. This is a bit you need to take your time on It will really bug me if it was slightly cockeyed when it was on. Although you watch that finished product, it'll be cockeyed and it'll just annoy me. If it is, I'll be honest, I'll tell you. But yeah, I'm pleased with it so far. What difference a day makes. Right, let's carry on. Right, I've drilled through. I've connected the taps, threaded the lines. I'm going to add some more insulation because there's none for the end caps. I'm also just going to get some pipe lagging and put around the pipes a bit, I think. Although I'm going to put a fan going up one leg, and if I'm lagging the pipes quite tightly, it sort of defeats the object of a fan blowing up through. So I'll see. I might just do the fan first and see how that goes. I'll still put a bit on the ends because it's just a metal cap there, so I can just plug that with something similar to this, some foam, and see how it goes. And if I find I get a lot of condensation or anything, then I'll look at something else. So I've drilled through the big hole, and I've put foil tape all around the edges. The lines are in, the holes are drilled for the fittings. So I'm just going to offer this one up now, fix it in place. So taps are fitted, tower, got them looking outwards so I can stand behind the serve. Although I still, like I said earlier, I don't know if that's going to be a permanent thing. I'll have to just see how it is, see how I feel about space in here. It's got to be fair ways off the wall to clear. And I'm a little bit dubious about, although it's decent casters on underneath, when there's 6 full kegs in there, that's going to be quite difficult to move. So, yeah, I'll just play that by ear for a minute. I did buy some rams and put on the side, and they were just, the strength of the ram when it's down was forcing the back of the lid off. It was a free freezer on free cycle, and it's not the best. So I've decided to go for the old-fashioned prop method. The lid's not too bad to lift up because it pretty much balances with the taps. But I've got this prop here fixed in. Pull that out, and holding the camera, I'm trying to do this. There, slots into a locating hole there. It's propped up there. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but when the lid's shut down and it's clipped in there, you're not even going to know it's there. So yeah, give it a bit of a hoover out, and I've got to work out what I'm going to do with the secondary regs, because a lot of people put them along the back, but as you can see, I'm not going to have a huge amount of space because I've insulated it. I could cut out a piece of the insulation, but then it sort of defeats the object of having the insulation on the rest of it, really, if you've got a cold spot. So, well, a warm spot once you're inside the freezer. So I'm thinking about mounting 3 that side and 3 that side, or just doing all 6 on this side. If I do 3 each side, if I run the gas probably in from this side, and then on the 3rd reg, I'll just run a long piece along the back, which won't take up anywhere near the space. These regs, as you see, are quite deep. So you just run a piece of pipe along there, and then 3 more on that end. I got space widthways, just not on the depth. So, but that's what I'm thinking over on a minute. I'm sure you'll see the outcome in a moment. Right, next stage. A little bit more progress today. I've put in the lines, 3 of them anyway. The rest are like connections are on the kegs, in the old keg area. And I've done my gas board. I used a bit of fascia board. It's quite a good, decent size, so I cut it square, fixed it in. Now I've got the gas line, runs round, comes out, and then goes down to the other end. So I can put the bottle down that end, and I'll probably chain it up onto the collar, just so there's a mishap, at least it's anchored in place. Yeah, getting there slowly. I've got these 3 of these, 4 of them already, and I think I might get 2 more because I just want it all look the same. I got the old yellow grey ones, but yeah, so a little bit of progress. Hands are bloody numb now, so I'm going to go in. So I've added some ventilation. I've got needs to clean, it's been kicking around for ages. It's like an ITC 1000. It's a slightly different version. I bought it originally from a brew kettle. You might have seen it in an early video if you watch my brew kettle build. So it's rated to 30 amps, which is irrelevant on a freezer. But it's one I had kicking around. And so it's got a single plug on it, freezer plugged in and connected at the minute. So only when the freezer's running, but that could change once I can monitor temperatures. I've put in some air circulation. So basically, the bottle of water down the bottom has got the probe in it for temperature controller. So it'll give me an accurate idea of what temperature is. And then I have a piece of ducting I had kicking around, which I've just screwed into the collar. And then a fan, which I was using in my kegerator. And it's a bit noisy, so I'll just see how it goes. Should be a bit better with the lid down, but at the minute, like I say, it only runs when the freezer runs. But I can monitor that, and it's really easy to change over. It's very minor wiring, and it can run permanent. I've sealed the top of the trunk in with some foil tape. And so, in theory, this cold air is being drawn from the bottom and will just circulate over the top of the kegs and then draw back through the kegs and back up. For my kegs to fit in front to back, they're slightly staggered, so it won't interfere with the trunking. As the gas manifold's all in, I'm waiting for a fitting to turn up. So I haven't got that bend there, putting strain on the fittings. It'll just be a right angled one. For some reason I was just itching to get it all together. Yeah, so I haven't checked that for leaks yet. I'll wait until it's all nearly ready to go. Because otherwise if I check it for leaks, it means I'm plumbing it from where it currently is over there. I think I'll just wait until I'm ready. But well, at least I'm being patient this way. Yeah, so it's coming along. So she's up and running. Drip tray just sat on there. I've got some upstairs somewhere, some double sticky back Velcro. So I'm going to stick some to the tray, stick some to the bar top. That way it's still a sealed unit then if I have any spills. But the tray won't slide off every time I open the Keezer. I've plumbed in, got the gas bottle on the hook here. Now, I might alter this hook a little bit because as you can see by the angle, it sticks out a little. So I might alter a bracket or make something so that I can twist it round so the regulator is in straight. And I've got a strap, I'm going to strap that to the freezer. It might wreck the freezer if it did ever blow up, but it means it's not being a bomb and shooting around the brew room. I've got this long line, so it goes in, but I've got a regulator and a long line here for forced carbing or putting pressure over to the kegerator if I need to. Not the kegerator, sorry, the fermenting chamber. So I'll just quickly show you inside. I'm not going to bother putting the prop up. So there's 5 kegs in it. I could actually at squeeze, if I push them right up, get 7. But I've only got 6 taps, so I'm happy with 6 really. I could have space for conditioning, but I'm going to end up with that fermenting chamber, and I'm swapping that freezer out for fermenting chamber and putting a big food freezer and hops freezer here. So I can condition kegs in there. I can fit 2 in that one. So I got somewhere to condition kegs out of here anyway. So yeah, all connected up. Regulator all done. Change that bend for a 90. It's a little bit tricky seeing, I got dodgy eyesight anyway, but it's a little bit tricky seeing the gauge on the inline regs. But that's just what it is. The Bishop's tap handles, although the idea is really good, there's not enough space to write long beer names. I could just abbreviate stuff, I know, and it looks all right, but I can't see them staying an awful long time, to be honest. So I'll just pour a pint and happy weekend.